This is the Model 214 tilting head bandsaw by Forrest Manufacturing. Today we'll be looking at the procedure used to change the blade wheel. Sometimes blade wheels can be worn or warped and will need to be replaced or refurbished. But today I'll be using a new wheel just for example. We'll start, first step is to loosen the blade tension. Once the blade tension is released, we can walk around to the front of the machine to get access to the wheel. Now that we've got our blade loosened, we can open up the cabinet to get a look at the wheel. Now, like I said, this is a brand new wheel, but your wheel may not be brand new, and it may have gouges or it may have flat spots where the crown should be. This edge should be rounded. If it's rounded, it's good. If it's flat, it's not. If it's got gouges in it, you're definitely going to need to replace or refurbish your wheel. If you decide to replace the wheel, you want to have your tools ready ahead of time. So let's take a look at what we'll need. This job requires a ratchet, a 1/4-inch hex drive, a torque wrench, a magnetic dial indicator, a piece of 1/8-inch material to be used as a spacer, a 5/32 Allen wrench, and a rubber mallet. We'll start by loosening these bolts. Let's get them out. Once you've got them loose, you can just unscrew them by hand. In just a second, we'll be using these same bolts in the threaded holes to push the bushing out of the wheel. So we'll just go ahead and put them in the threaded holes as soon as we take them out. Now, to pull the bushing, gently tighten all of these bolts. Go around the circle, snug them up. Now turn them about 1/4 turn if you can get that far. Just go around the circle. Eventually this will push the bushing out of the tapered wheel. You'll be able to get it off. Now we've got the wheel off, we can get the screws out of the bushing. Out of the threaded holes, rather. Put them in the holes they came from originally. Pull the bushing out. Now we'll switch the wheel out for our eerily similar brand new one. We want to get these bolts started with our hands before we get it up there. Makes it a little easier. Good. Now we'll place the wheel and the bushing back on the shaft. Now we'll try to get the face of the bushing flush with the back of the taper on the shaft. Nice. Now what we're doing here is we're locking the bushing down on the shaft. We have to keep the bushing stationary before we can use it to push or pull on the wheel, like we'll need to in a second to make sure it's square. Now we'll switch to the torque wrench. Set it to about 16 foot-pounds or 200 inch-pounds. Now we'll mount our dial indicator on the rim of the wheel and lock it down. We want to watch out that we don't end up measuring any of this extra rubber that's left on the side of the wheel. Try to put the indicator in a place where the rubber won't interfere with the measurement. Got it mounted now, and we can see that there's a little bit of slop, a little bit of run out actually in our wheel. So we'll need to fix that after we get it tight. Now we'll use our torque wrench to get everything snugged up to 200 inch-pounds. Just like before, just go a little bit onto the next one. Keep going around until we get all of them snugged up. After following the same procedure as we'd used when we pulled the bushing out, the little bit at a time on each bolt as we go around the circle to keep things straight, we get all three bolts torqued to 200 inch-pounds. Now we can set our torque wrench to 250 and start to square things up. We've got our torque wrench set to 250 inch-pounds now. It's important to note that once the bushing is tightened to 200 inch-pounds, it is completely stationary on the shaft, and we don't technically have to tighten any more to hold the bushing on. What we do want to do is we want to pull or push on the different edges of this wheel to make sure that it's straight with our shaft. So we want to adjust out all of the run out. To do that, we'll set our torque wrench to 250, and we'll watch this dial indicator as we roll the wheel around. Now use your dial indicator to find out where the high spots are in the wheel. Okay, I think I found one. This is actually a low spot and needs to be tightened. A little more. Okay. Now we've got everything tightened up. The dial indicator tells us that we are within about 3 thousandths from high to low. So that's a square wheel with no run out. Now we're nearly finished, but we need to make sure the wheels top and bottom are in the same plane. To do that, we'll use our 1/8 inch spacer, place it behind the wheel, and see if it fits. When assembled at the factory, this saw will have a 1/8 inch clearance between the inside of the cabinet and the wheel. Now I can't get this 1/8 inch piece of material between the hub and the inside of the cabinet, so I'm going to have to move the shaft just a little bit. To do that, we'll have to go around the other side. Looking down on the saw from the rear, we can see we have 2 set screws at each end of the shaft. Here, 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 and here. We'll have to use the Allen wrench to loosen those up, then we'll use the rubber mallet to tap the shaft into place. Okay, we've got the shaft loosened. Now let's give it a nice tap with our mallet and see if it moves into place. I don't think it moved. Maybe something there. Let's try to get it in there. Nope, doesn't fit. One more time. Nope, this might take some tries. That's actually pretty tight. Now we've got it in place, just tighten these up. All right, now the set screws are in. Shaft is stationary, which means the wheel is stationary and square. And that's it. We've successfully replaced the wheel on our Model 214 tilting head bandsaw. I hope this was helpful to you. Thank you.